All right, question of the day. What is your favorite IP that has been made into video games, and what is your favorite version of it? Now, mine is not what's on this review. However, X-Men is one of my favorite IPs. Not my favorite. My favorite would probably be Metal Gear Solid, Chrono Trigger, and Indiana Jones. Still waiting on 2 of those to get made into a game. 1, oh my gosh, I hope it gets here anytime. But X-Men, I love X-Men. I love DC Comics a little bit more than Marvel, especially the Green Lantern. Jeff Johns can write anything and I'll read it. However, my favorite of Marvel, any Marvel, is the X-Men. I love the X-Men, probably because I grew up watching 92, and then again 97 this year was tremendous. But the X-Men have always had a special place in my heart. So naturally, when I saw Marvel Zombies, the X-Men Resistance, I wanted to play it. Now, I didn't care so much about the original Marvel Zombies, not because I don't care about Marvel Zombies, but because there are a million other games like this in a sense where you can play, just play regular zombie stuff. But something about the X-Men grabbed me, and then seeing the sculpt. So let's take a look right now at Marvel Zombies X-Men Resistance, and we'll come back up, talk final thoughts. Now, actually, you're going to have to play with 4 heroes, but you've got Colossus, Magneto, Wolverine, Rogue, Storm, and I believe there's one, and Mystique. So you've got these characters to choose from. They all have unique powers related to their mutant powers, which is pretty great. And also, I just want to go ahead and show you this right now. No surprise, the sculpts are incredible, but really the detail here is phenomenal. Plus, you get some zombified characters like Iceman, who, I don't know if you can tell, but this giant chunk of ice is a skull that he's coming out of because he is a zombie version. Just incredible. And that translucent plastic, such a good choice. And then one other I wanted to show you just the image of here because it's the same as the sculpt. That's right. Cyclops has taken his head off, or he's lost his head, and is using it as a weapon, which is phenomenal. So, just like any Zombicide game, you've got your player board here. You're going to gain power in order to spend that power to use other powers here. Also, you've got blue powers, yellow, orange, and red. And the reason you have that is because you have blue, yellow, orange, red, and experience. And each time you kill an enemy and do things in the map, you're going to gain experience. As you progress, you'll be able to open up these extra powers. In case in point, a 4th action when you hit yellow. The other thing that happens when you hit yellow is that when you spawn zombies, you're going to spawn it based on anybody's color. So if everybody's in blue, it's 2 of the brutes rush. This is how you get the people like Iceman out there, by the way. So you can have multiple out, which is pretty great. Here though, yellow. So this 1 runner, 2 for yellow, 3 for orange, 4 for red. And the reason this is important is because the first person who hits that number, no matter who it is, bumps everybody else up. I'm sorry, bumps the spawn point up. So everybody could be in blue and one person could be in orange just based on how they been killing, and everybody, they will always spawn from the highest at that point, which makes it more difficult. You're going to be moving around the board, killing zombies. You're going to be trying to flip over objectives, get to the exit. There are a lot of things, and there's a bunch of missions in this game. Plus, there's also something really unique here, the Sentinel Hand, which can be used as a weapon in 2 different ways. 1, it can fire a blast, and 2, it can be used as a throw object. So you have the throw object here, 1 to 2 or 0 to 2 range, the number of dice for each enemy in the targeted zone, which is great. And then this side, you roll 3 dice at 3+, and it counts as 2 hits against a single enemy as a hit. So you're picking up the giant Sentinel Hand and shooting them with it. This is just tremendous. Now, you also have the ability to get traits, which are these abilities here. It used to be like the item cards, but as an action, you can just take one of these, which is pretty great. And they're just powerful enough to where, your one-shot use is usually, but there's also bad things in here. Ambush, spawn a walker in your zone, then draw another trait card. You also have bystanders to rescue, and then tons of objectives as we get going further into the game. Now this, like I said, this is a 1x2 grid for this mission, but if you look towards the end here, I don't want to spoil it, but that is a huge 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 size grid. Bunch of great missions in here. Hefty rule book, really spells out everything really well. One thing that I do have to gripe about though, the bite dice is only used if you're playing as the zombie version. Now, what sounds great, because you do get the cards to play, is like Zombified Colossus. Zombified Juggernaut, Psylocke, Sabretooth, Cyclops, Dark Phoenix, and Iceman. They look amazing. However, unless I'm reading it wrong, you have to still have the base game Marvel Zombies to play that version of this game. And hopefully I'm wrong on that, but it looks like you cannot play this as the zombie game without having a core rulebook. Let's just see what it says in here. It says, this box also contains the cards needed to use its heroes and bystanders in zombie mode. The Marvel Zombies core box is needed to play in zombie mode. This is technically not the core box because it's X-Men Resistance, even though it is a standalone box. So that's a little tricky, and maybe the wording's not clear there. Maybe you can play this in zombie mode, but I don't think so because the rules aren't there for how to play it. So you'll still need that. But that is essentially how you're going to play. You're going to play through the missions. You can adjust the difficulty as needed, or you can, whatever. It's a co-op game, especially if you're playing solo. There's no cameras over your head. You can just re-roll if you want to. No, anyway. But that is Marvel Zombies X-Men Resistance. All right, so that is the X-Men Resistance version of Marvel Zombies. And what's great about this is we do a rubric system where we follow a set of guidelines to give us a score. Then we divide that score by the amount of guidelines and we get a total score. That's how averages work. It's a law of average. First of all, there's concepts, there's board layout, there's mechanics. You would think by December of doing this since January I would have this memorized, but it's a new system to me still after 8 years of doing Dice Tower videos. Concept, board layout, mechanics, art direction, art, which includes components, gameplay, and rulebook, then we get an aggregated score. And the only thing I play a little fast and loose with is at the end is the rounding, and you will see where that comes into play in this game. So first of all, the concept's an 8. I like the whole idea of Marvel Zombies as a concept of comics. It's not the most creative thing in the world, but I like that we're doing this in this world, and it works for the zombie set idea of playing against zombies. Now, I haven't played the original Marvel Zombies box, but I really am curious about that zombie mode where you play as bad guys. However, I think I would rather play as good guys hunting zombies than I would as a zombie against them. So that's an 8. Board layout is a 9. Why is it a 9? Because your board trays are phenomenal. They always have been with Zombicide games. They've got those plastic trays with things to hold the cubes. They've got the little ticker for your experience. It just looks so neat and tidy, and they've got the, the etched words of Marvel Zombies in it, so straight up 9. Mechanics are 7.5. This is the lowest score I'm going to give it because it is Zombicide, so you're still doing the same thing, right? You're taking your actions, you're moving around the board, you're rolling dice, you're fighting zombies, and you're getting objectives. Now, usually getting objectives involves flipping something over and getting the heck out of dodge, but not a lot of creativity. Not saying not creativity, not a lot of difference there when it comes to this game versus a lot of other games like that, but it's still a 7.5 because of how it does it. Art direction is an 8. It is an 8 because everything is printed on the board. The only thing that is not super clear from the very first time you play is what those bystander symbols are on the board. Is that where they spawn? Is that what they do? Anyway, it's in the rulebook. You can figure it out. But the art direction's an 8 because the rest of the symbols are pretty straightforward. The zombie dice having the bite, and I think that's from the other games too, are not used in this version. They're used in the zombie version, so that's a little confusing too. Art is a 9.5. Now that includes the components, the characters, and everything like that. The sculpts, I would give a 10. The sculpts are just a flat 10 for me. They're the best sculpts in board gaming, in my opinion. Second to none. They just look incredible. And they're X-Men, and they're going to paint up really great. I can't wait to paint them. The Iceman being translucent blue, they did it in the Marvel United game as well, but seeing it here with this realistic version with the giant skull ice is just incredible. So a solid 9.5 for the art and the components. Now, the only thing that gives it a 9.5 instead of 10 is the actual player, like the maps are not the most detailed. The colors are great, the shading's great, everything looks good. It's just not as compelling as the characters and the character art. Plus, the backgrounds would be a little nicer if they were more in action. I get it. They're trying to show off the sculpt and the digital sculpt version. Whatever. 9.5. Gameplay is an 8. Why is it an 8? Whereas the mechanics are 7.5? Because it just feels enjoyable playing it. You just enjoy it. It really feels like each character is different, who has different powers, as opposed to playing the brute or the tough guy or the lady who's really smart or also the fighter lady or whatever, the medic. All of it is great because you're playing as Colossus or Rogue or Storm, and you know these characters. So having something that feels like the character is always great. That's why I've always loved HeroClix, is because everybody plays like they should. Bruce Banner starts really weak. You hit him, he gets really strong. Makes sense. This is very similar, although a little bit stripped down because you don't have that much power in Zombicide. What you do is you're killing zombies. It's not like Crisis. It's not like you're taking Crisis Protocol and putting it out here. But all in all, 8 for the gameplay. Last but not least is the rulebook. Rulebook's an 8. There's a couple things that were a little tricky in there that I wish were better, but that is what it is, as a lot of people like to say. So that total would be an 8.28. I'm rounding down this time to an 8.0, not an 8.5, because I feel like because this is Zombicide, it still feels like Zombicide, and it's not a game I'm going to get out all the time and go, ooh, let's play Zombicide. It's just not. However, it is great. It's good when you want to play it. It's worth playing. So that fast and loose with the 0.03, dropping it back down to a 0.02 or 0.25 to give me a 0.0, rounding is fun, is because of that. I'm not going to sit here and play through this bang over and over and over and play through it. I don't play solo games because I will cheat and I will just get bored and leave, right? Who's going to stop me from rolling again or fighting my way through? And because there's not a story hook to this, there's no reason for me to want to do it the right way, if that makes any sense. So, long story short, Marvel Zombies X-Men Resistance gets an 8.0 from me, Brian Drake, here on the Dice Tower. If you're watching this week, I'll see you on the cruise. Make sure to come say hey. Maybe we can get in a game. At least have a good time together. So until next time, we'll see ya. Take it away, Tom.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching another video from the Dice Tower. Hey, you want to learn more about us, communicate with us? We have a Facebook group, we have a Discord channel, lots of different ways to get involved with the Dice Tower. You can find that in our Linktree link below. So just click that, it will take you and you can communicate with us on Facebook, join our Facebook groups. There's lots of cool things that you can find and become part of the Dice Tower. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Tom Vasel.